Wealth begins in the mind long before it ever shows up in your bank account. It begins with an idea, a vision, a seed planted in the fertile soil of thought. Every fortune ever created, every empire ever built, every breakthrough ever achieved, it all started as nothing more than a whisper in someone's imagination. Andrew Carnegie was not born a steel magnate. Henry Ford was not born with an assembly line in his hands. Thomas Edison did not come into this world holding a glowing bulb. They were born with one thing only, a mind capable of thought. And through thought, they forged destiny. Understand this. Your mind is the workshop of creation. It is the invisible architect of your future. What you continually hold in your thoughts, you invite into your life. If your mind is filled with doubt, you will attract circumstances that confirm your doubt. If your mind is saturated with belief, discipline, and vision, you will attract opportunities that align with belief, discipline, and vision. Wealth does not respond to wishful thinking. It responds to definite thinking. It responds to clarity, to conviction, to a mind trained like steel. The tragedy is that most people allow their minds to run wild, untamed, like a horse without reins. They drift. They allow fear to dictate their choices, circumstances to shape their belief, and society to write their script. But wealth, true wealth, the kind that endures, is never attracted to the drifter. It is attracted to the man or woman who dares to seize control of their own mind, who declares, "I will be the master of my fate, the captain of my soul, the governor of my thoughts." Think of the great builders of history. Walt Disney was bankrupt before he built his empire. Edison failed 10,000 times before the light shone. Lincoln lost election after election before he became one of the greatest leaders the world has ever known. What separated them from the millions who gave up? Not talent, not luck. It was the unshakable power of a trained mind. They saw what others could not see. They believed when others quit. They turned adversity into fuel, setbacks into lessons, pain into power. Your mind, right now, holds that same capacity. The difference between living in scarcity and living in abundance is not your background, your education, or your circumstances. It is your conditioning. Poverty begins in the mind just as surely as wealth begins in the mind. If you see yourself as limited, if you repeat the story of struggle, if you convince yourself that success belongs to others but not to you, then life will obey that script. But if you rewrite the script, if you discipline your thoughts, if you flood your mind with a belief that you are destined to create, to achieve, to prosper, life will obey that too. Wealth is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. It is a consequence of thought made definite, belief made unshakable, and action made relentless. Train your mind, and your results will follow. Neglect your mind, and your results will betray you. Every morning, when you rise, you stand at the crossroads of thought. You can choose the road of limitation, telling yourself today will be like yesterday, repeating the cycle of mediocrity. Or you can choose the road of growth, the road of vision, the road of discipline. The first choice requires no effort. The second requires everything you have. But only the second leads to wealth, to freedom, to the kind of life you were created to live. So I ask you, what do you dwell upon when no one is watching? What do you rehearse in your mind before you sleep? Do you see yourself as the architect of greatness or the victim of circumstance? Do you nurture visions of abundance or replay memories of failure? Because your mind cannot serve two masters. It will give you only what you persistently demand of it. Wealth is attracted to the mind that is clear, focused, disciplined, and determined. Train your mind to hold nothing but victory. Train your mind to see opportunity in every setback. Train your mind to expect abundance, to demand greatness, to reject limitation. The man who does this becomes unstoppable, because no external force is greater than an internal conviction. The world has always belonged to those who dared to believe in the invisible. Carnegie saw steel mills before they existed. Ford saw cars on every street before a single assembly line was built. Disney saw castles and kingdoms before a shovel touched the ground. They lived it in their minds long before the world lived it in reality. That is the secret. That is the formula. What you see within, you will one day hold without. And if you are willing to master this, if you are willing to discipline your mind until it becomes unshakable, you will attract wealth in ways that others call luck, but that you will know as law. Do not misunderstand wealth as merely money. Money is only one expression of wealth. True wealth begins as mastery of yourself, mastery of your thoughts, mastery of your emotions, mastery of your actions. Money follows mastery, never the other way around. A man who gains riches without discipline will lose them as quickly as he found them. History is filled with those who struck gold for a moment, only to watch it slip through their fingers because they lacked the mind to sustain it. But the one who trains his mind to think in terms of wealth, to think in terms of growth, to think in terms of possibility, he cannot be poor for long. Even if you strip away his possessions, even if you take away his fortune, he will rebuild it again and again, because wealth is not in the things he owns. Wealth is in the way he thinks. That is why you must start not with your hands, not with your hustle, not even with your connections. You must start with your mind. Your mind is a magnet. Your mind is a generator. Your mind is a source. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you attract by becoming the kind of person wealth cannot resist. And to become that person, you must rewire your thoughts until they serve you, not sabotage you. Ask yourself, what do I believe about money? What do I believe about success? What stories have I been repeating since childhood? Were you taught that money is evil, that rich people are greedy, that success is for the chosen few? If so, those beliefs have been quietly directing your life, keeping you from the very thing you desire. Because here's the truth, you cannot attract what you secretly despise. You cannot magnetize what you believe is beyond you. You cannot become what you consistently resist. Napoleon Hill taught that the subconscious mind will accept any thought that is repeated, whether it is true or false. The mind does not judge, it obeys. Repeat to yourself that money is scarce, and your subconscious will build a life that confirms it. Repeat to yourself that opportunities are everywhere, and your subconscious will begin to notice doors that were always there but that you were blind to before. Repeat to yourself that you are destined for greatness, and your mind will organize your actions in harmony with that destiny. This is why the successful lie by affirmations, visualization, and definite purpose. They are not empty rituals. They are the process of writing a new script into the subconscious mind. They are the way you take command of your inner workshop. Remember, Edison failed 10,000 times, but each time he saw in his mind's eye glowing bulb, a world transformed by light. That vision directed his persistence until reality bent to his will. If he had repeated to himself, "It is impossible," he would have been right. But because he repeated, "It is inevitable," the impossible became possible. And so must you. You must flood your mind with thoughts of victory until doubt has no room to breathe. You must speak wealth into existence until it becomes your natural language. You must hold your vision so vividly that your body, your habits, and your choices have no option but to align with it. Discipline is the bridge. It is not enough to think once and quit. You must train your mind daily, just as an athlete trains his body. You cannot go to the gym once and expect strength to last a lifetime, nor can you think one wealthy thought and expect riches to appear. You must condition your mind until success is your default setting, until resilience is your reflex, until vision is your second nature. That is when wealth begins to flow, not as a miracle, but as a certainty. Consider the oak tree. It begins as a small acorn, buried beneath the soil, unseen, ignored, forgotten by most. But within it lies the pattern of greatness. Through storms, through seasons, through winters where it looks dead, it persists. Slowly, patiently, it rises, breaking to the ground, reaching for the sun. Years later, it stands tall, unshakable, immovable, providing shade and strength to all who come near. Your mind is that acorn. Your wealth is that oak. But only if you tend the seed, water it daily, guard it against weeds, and refuse to dig it up every time impatience whispers in your ear. Most people never become wealthy because they quit the process. They expect the tree to appear the day after they plant the seed. They want riches without roots, fortune without foundation. But you must be different. You must see the invisible. You must believe through the winters. You must keep watering when there's no evidence. That is how you train your mind to attract wealth, not by chasing results, but by becoming the kind of person who cannot help but create them. Wealth is not about taking. It is about becoming. It is about becoming disciplined enough to see clearly, resilient enough to endure setbacks, grateful enough to appreciate what you have, and ambitious enough to demand more from yourself each day. When you become that person, money follows. Opportunities follow. Success follows. because the universe always bends to the mind that knows where it is going and refuses to be denied.